item, whatever. Sure. I'd like to be able to have those things in front of you and talk about certain issues. Several of you have said that you don't look at certain sites, you prefer not to know. Well, we try to teach our children you have to stand up to a bully. Ignoring a bully has never, ever worked. I've even had people who I would consider friends of mine say they read a certain site and they're amused by the style of writing. And I would submit that they're just as guilty as someone who would stand around and watch a child be bullied without intervening. Again, when we discuss things, keep all those taken directly off of the website. Word for word, nothing's been edited. I was going to start highlighting certain of the comments, but I could have just printed it on yellow paper. It would have been easier and quicker. Just for the record, give you a little bit of history. These individuals here, the city of Ironwood and the state of Michigan invested $30,000 in our community for the Blueprint program for that grant. These two individuals refused to leave a meeting that was closed to the public, that was between the Hyatt Palma and certain city staff and people at the DIDA, that would have given us an opportunity to ask them questions and get the initial report. They refused to leave the meeting. What Hyatt Palma did, they said, well, those are our rules, and they walked out. So that cost the city an opportunity to get one-on-one time with those representatives. For the record, Bob, I don't know if you're aware, but your son's photo has been online. The Mercer school system, albeit that is in Wisconsin, they are quite clear that they need parental consent before any pictures are submitted online. And if they accidentally send one on, they are very quick to send an email saying, please take it down. Again, I don't know what Michigan law says. We want to talk about open meetings violations and things because our city attorney seems to be very concerned about that. DIDA meeting, when Mr. Albert's rights were violated, absolutely nothing was done. Nothing was done by the other members of the DIDA, nothing was done by the city attorney, nothing was done by the city commission at the time. Also, a little bit of history. Initially, we used to plug in the recorder into the city's microphone system, and then that privilege was taken away from us. In response, we had a 15-year-old volunteer who used to pass the microphone around so that Mr. Albert, who was hearing impaired, could actually hear what was being said. And at the time, our city attorney ordered that 15-year-old volunteer, get that mic out of my face, I don't want it. And yet nothing was done about that. Was that a violation of the Open Meetings Act? Was that a violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act? I don't know. I just want to clear up one thing. It's on page 3 of what I handed out. There was coverage online of the last Parks and Rec meeting, and in it, first of all, I'm not sure how there was coverage of it since they were not there, although Kim Colasar was. I don't know if that's any pertinent or not. They said that I doubted that was even Mr. Cossi's opinion. I don't doubt that it's Mr. Cossi's opinion. What I had said was that I doubted that it was really a legal opinion and certainly not something that we should be paying for. Simply cutting and pasting what the law says that any of you or anybody could have gone online and Googled or looked up Michigan law, highlighting a little part and then basically saying no does not constitute a legal opinion. Just a quick perusal of this law. Here are questions that would come to my mind. It says nothing about digital recording. It says tape record, videotape, broadcast live on radio, and telecast live on television. Well, as we all know, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, when we had digital recordings and digital reproduction, that totally changed the game and new laws were passed. It appears from a quick reading of this that Michigan has not done so. It says nothing about putting online. It talks about radio and television. It certainly says nothing about putting it on a third-party, for-profit website. I also would question, is Parks and Rec Committee even required to follow the Open Meetings Act? Is the Snowmobile Committee? Is the Blight Committee? And before you say, well, isn't it obvious, from the Citizens Media Law Project, the unifying requirement is that the public body must exercise governmental authority or perform a governmental function. For this reason, it is not clear Whether advisory committees that do not take final action on public business are covered by the Open Meetings Act. And as I learned at the last Parks and Rec meeting, we have no authority. We simply recommend things, pass the buck on up to you for you to make a decision. What this really comes down to, this is in no way an attempt to hide things, to be secretive or anything. This sprang from a desire to protect other people's rights to come and express themselves at a public meeting. Notice how few applications we get for any committee positions. And I'm not saying that issues like this are the total cause of that lack of interest, but it certainly cannot help. And finally, when we've asked, what can you do? You can't really do anything. The Columbia Township Board of Trustees, they just passed rules saying there's absolutely no videotaping before or after a meeting. The clerk must be notified, and there are no microphones allowed on the board table. Now, if they passed that, maybe it would stand up in court, maybe not, but they made a decision. They tried to do something. We also need to start doing something. This is bullying, vindictive behavior. The issue is not whether it makes Ironwood look bad. The issue, it's not true. It is factually incorrect, which is anybody that attends a meeting can clearly see. Thank you.
Thank you.